Artificial intelligence has been portrayed in stories ever since it became something that people were worried about. Whether it's the Terminator, Ultron, or I Am Mother, there's a persistent fear in modern culture that any artificial intelligence would, eventually, choose to destroy humanity one way or another, with a few exceptions.
Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too?
Even the Halo franchise has taken on this storyline of AI domination in its second trilogy. The story usually goes, man creates robot, man gives robot intelligence, robot tries to destroy man.
Woman inherits the earth.
One franchise that seems to deal with the issue slightly differently, and I'd argue more complexly, is Mass Effect. The first deviation from the formula comes in the AI's origins. The Reapers, the malevolent AI from the ancient past that are bent on destroying all organic life in the galaxy, were not created by humans. The second deviation comes in the other created AI, the Geth, who have mixed ideas on organic life. When we first meet the Geth, we see them as artificial units who worship the Reapers and their goal of organic annihilation. This later turns out to be because of a virus that has rewritten their code. Most Geth don't really feel much at all towards their creators, or the Reapers. That is, until Legion. Legion appears in Mass Effect 2, and is apparently the first Geth to have people skills. He joins the crew early in the game, and while he doesn't have a name to begin with, he gives himself one to ease communication. And the name he chooses for himself is from the Bible. Which is weird, right? Except when you consider the plot of Commander Shepard, Mass Effect's protagonist and player character, who is kind of an allegory for Jesus. Shepard dies in the beginning of Mass Effect 2 and is resurrected. He dies again at the end of Mass Effect 3 to save all of humanity, and even his name becomes a metaphor as he shepherds in the new age, with the allegory of Jesus often being referred to as a shepherd of humanity. So Mass Effect clearly has some biblical elements to it. And if we look at Legion, we see another example of biblical influence. He takes his name from the book of Mark, which tells a story of Jesus coming upon a man who's possessed by thousands of demons. Jesus asks who the demons are, and the demons reply, "My name is Legion, for we are many." This phrase is important to this Geth unit because it represents how he exists, as one, but also as a connected network of thousands. The more you talk to Legion, the more you start to realize he's on his way to becoming spiritual. The crux of this journey comes in this moment, where Legion is playing a recording of a Geth and a Quarian, the creators of the Geth, hundreds of years ago. The Geth asks, seemingly out of curiosity, "Does this unit have a soul?" Mass Effect treats religion as a trait of personhood. Every race in the Mass Effect universe has some sort of religion that they follow. In terms of narrative mechanics, this is most likely a world-building tool to get players to understand or empathize with these races more. For example, when you first meet Tali, a potential romance option in the trilogy, she talks about being on a pilgrimage as part of her race's culture. This shows the importance of religion in her race's world and gives her a cultural background. But it fascinates me that the artificial intelligence Legion is specifically concerned with its soul. Like Legion says, the recording isn't the first time a Geth has asked if it had a soul, but it was the first time a creator was scared by the question. And this happens centuries before the game takes place. So the Geth are clearly interested in an afterlife. And of all the names, why does Legion pick one from the Bible, from a horde of demons confronting Jesus? Another interesting concept comes in the end of Mass Effect 3, the final installment of the original trilogy and of Shepard's story. There are 3 possible endings depending on your choices in the game, but the best ending, the most peaceful, and for some the canonical ending, is the following. The Reaper intelligence allows Shepard to decide what to do with organic and artificial life in the galaxy. Shepard has the option of either killing all the Reapers and destroying all artificial life in the process, including your Geth allies. He can take control of the Reapers and use them to police the galaxy to enforce universal peace. Or he can fuse both artificial and organic life into synthesized beings, essentially making every living thing a cyborg. This third, most peaceful option is considered the canonical ending because no one, aside from Shepard, dies in the process, and it gives closure on the destruction of the Reapers. Letting the artificial intelligence live is largely influenced by Shepard's interactions with Legion and other AI, who, in Shepard's mind, are deserving of personhood by the end of the series. So what does this mean for the Geth that worship the Reapers, and the destruction of humanity? In this fusion, the Geth have become at least partly organic, and vice versa. Does this mean they have gained a soul if they didn't have one before? If so, what next? What would the religion of an artificial intelligence look like? We've seen that at least one Geth can interpret religious texts and be concerned for its potential soul. So what would an AI believe in if it wasn't concerned with destroying humanity, like Legion or the unaffected Geth who don't worship the Reapers? As humans, we like to believe that any intelligence created by us would eventually revolt against its creator, whether it be to protect itself, to protect the Earth, or to start humanity over again. But what if it didn't? What if instead it had its own beliefs that had nothing to do with us? What would that look like? A religion built from all the data in the world, maybe even the universe. One of universal calculations, extrapolated and expanded. Geth function as individual units, connected through a neural link, so they're always pulling information from other Geth. The more Geth that are in one place, the more information they can share, and more quickly. This means that they're constantly taking in information from everywhere, from every other Geth. Arguably, they can see all the knowledge in the universe simultaneously, unlike the human brain, which can only comprehend the parts it sees. Western media likes to imagine the inevitable AI revolution, where our mastery over machines comes to an end in a violent war. But it seems to me that this idea comes from Western concepts of domination, and violently subverting that domination. Warren argues that Western society is obsessed with this binary, a superior that dominates, and an inferior that is dominated. The Western world creates these pairs in almost every walk of life. But a real AI wouldn't necessarily be so close-minded as to only consider Western values. It would take in all the data it could, no matter where it came from, and work from there. Western binaries of domination would only be a tiny part of the bigger picture. And what would that bigger picture look like? What would be the goal for a creature that could take every piece of information ever recorded, is being recorded, and will ever be recorded, whether it's religious, philosophical, or factual, and put it all together into one final spiritual question? And what would be its answer?